And a very good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Cadet First Class Club, show number 3 of This Week in Army Football for the 2025 season. We were off last week, but a lot to talk about. Last time Army was on the football field 2 Saturdays ago, a big upset on the road of Kansas State out of the Big 12 Conference. We're leading into Army's second home game of the 2025 season against North Texas coming up at noon on Saturday, part of Army Sports Hall of Fame weekend. And how about This Week in Army Football? Welcome to the star of our show back with us here at the First D Club, Jeff Monken. Jeff, welcome back to your show. Welcome to This Week in Army Football. And
thanks, Rich.
You're coming from a busy I thought Mondays were kind of an off day, not today.
No, well, oftentimes, I shouldn't say oftentimes, a few times during the season, we have a JV game on Monday nights. And really that is because our guys are all on a 4-year graduation track, and they don't redshirt. We like to get those guys some game experience during their freshman year. And for guys that aren't traveling, aren't playing regularly, we have JV games. So we had a JV game today, Snow College from Utah. A really good football team, actually ranked number 8 in the country in junior college, the junior college poll.
And that's a good game against your younger players.
That's a tough game.
That's a good game.
And it was a heck of a game. Went to 3 overtimes, and we just won on a 95-yard scoop and score for a touchdown in the third overtime. So
how about
go
that?
Figure. Yep.
So,
defended Mikey Stadium. Good job by the freshmen.
So that's one of those odd games. Now, did Army have the ball first or second in that overtime?
So Army took the ball. We were on defense first.
Okay.
Kicked a field goal. And then went on offense, kicked a field goal. So it's back-to-back field goals for both teams in the third overtime where you have to go for 2. They got the ball first, fumbled on the play. We scooped it and ran it in all the way back for a touchdown, which is unbelievable.
Now, what was your role for the JV game?
Basically getting after the officials. That was it. I was down there just trying to help them do their job.
It's good bye-week practice,
yeah.
right? Because you haven't been riding those officials for like 8 days, 9 days,
I
right?
know. I was feeling a little neglected. So I got after the officials a little bit and just tried to coach some fundamentals. Really, our assistant coaches, they do a great job. They coach those games, and it was fun. It was fun to see those, like I said, and our regular starter. But there's a guy, like you said, first start, but he went into it really confident. He was ready, well coached. Cody had him prepared, and he's a winner. He's a tough competitor and a winner, and he just found a way. He found a way against Kansas State and made some really great individual efforts. But everybody around him was just playing their butts off, and that was what was so impressive and so fun to be a part of, was just to see our guys playing so incredibly hard and leaning on each other and supporting each other with the way they played and the effort that they were putting into it.
Cale Hellam's a junior, and when players come in, they're recruited, we see them in practice, you hear and you see things that are their strengths. Cale Hellam's threw for a lot of yards in high school, has a great arm, had 41 rushes in that win. What does that say, though, about him learning the overall needs? Not that Cale Hellam's couldn't run when he came here, but understanding over the course of 2+ years the overall needs of this offense and what the quarterback needs to do. And maybe the first thing when Cale Hellam's came here a couple of years ago wasn't his running, but to have that kind of performance when that was needed.
I think our players understand when they come into this program what it is. And the quarterbacks know that they're going to have to run the ball and be gritty and run between the tackles. The receivers know that we're not going to throw it a bunch. They're going to have to block and get in there and get in the mix. And we got guys like that. We got tough guys, and they embrace that. And I really think Cale Hellam's sees himself as that kind of player, not as a guy that's stand back there in the pocket and throw it around. He sees himself as a tough, gritty runner and wants to do that. So I think he welcomed the opportunity and did a really good job when he had it, took care of the ball, took care of our team, no foolish plays, didn't try to force anything. And that made a huge difference in the game for us. Just him understanding that he's the starting quarterback. He earned that opportunity. He didn't need to prove it by forcing something. Just take care of the team. And man, it was awesome. I was so proud of that kid.
Who will be under center on Saturday?
Cale Helms will be the starter on Saturday.
So Cale Helms, off of that terrific performance against Kansas State, will start for Army against North Texas on Saturday at Mikey Stadium. Just moving to the other side of the ball, several defenders really stood out. Caleb Fortner had as good of a first half. In the first half, that was as good of a half as I've seen for an Army linebacker in a while. And Colin Madison ended up being the defensive star of the game, earned several National Defensive Player of the Week accolades, made the game-sealing interception. He had family ties to Fort Riley and, of course, Kansas State. Again, like Cale Helms, Colin Madison, another kid, you just look at that game and you're so happy for him and that performance.
I am happy for him. That's a guy that in his sophomore year, he's a direct freshman. So he came straight from Edmond, Oklahoma to West Point, 18-year-old freshman. As a 19-year-old sophomore, I wasn't sure if really he was going to ever develop into being a player that could start for us and be a regular contributor. He ran really well. He was a fast athlete in high school. But that's, it's hard. It's hard to make that transition and to do it without a redshirt year. And he played really well. He played just the series of his career to this point, and he'll play some others. I say that to this point in that final drive. But our whole defense played well. We track. We have an analytics company that we talk a lot about analytics, and we talked about it on the show, and I know you talking about it on the radio, and the TV folks discuss it at length and in detail. But we have tackling analytics, so we have a group that analyzes every tackle, what surface of our body we use to tackle, what's our effectiveness, how many yards the other team gets after first contact, and pretty much grades each player and grades our defense. We had 3 missed tackles in the game. That's absolutely unheard of. There may not be another team that played this past weekend at any level that missed only 3 tackles in the game.
People miss 3 tackles on one play sometimes.
For sure. Our guys just played so well fundamentally, and there was a great determination in our team. That was the thing about it. It was an upset by the books, but it's only an upset if you don't expect to win. And our guys went in there expecting to win and really played that way, played with great confidence. It was a lot of fun.
It also shows the difference turnovers can make from one game to the next. We're going to have our first special guest coming up in a moment. And let's talk about another player from that game, and that is Noah Short. We knew he could run the ball. We knew he could catch the ball, but then a trick play. That was a missile he threw downfield. And again, Brady Anderson. We're going to get to know this name, it seems like, throughout this season. How about Noah Short and again, adding another dimension to the many things he already does?
Well, if he'd just thrown it out there in front of him a little bit more, it might have been a touchdown pass. Then he could claim that he rushed for a touchdown, he caught for a touchdown, and threw for a touchdown. So we're going to have to work on that a little bit. But it really was a good play. It was well designed. He made a good throw. And we told him all week, just make sure you complete the pass. And Brady came up on that big play, over 50 yards. It was a big chunk play, and a lot of times you need those chunk plays to score. Oftentimes when there's a big play like that in a drive, it results in a scoring opportunity. So it certainly set up an important score for us.
And it was great having a player back from injury from the first game, Liam Fortner, because when you talk to Brady Anderson, the first words out of his mouth are, Liam Fortner's had a tremendous impact on me. And I saw him. He lined up, I guess, Liam, you had him at tight end on the opening play of the game, right tight to the line.
Well, we line up in those condensed formations a lot. And so he's accustomed to lining up there. Our receivers are. And Liam is such a tough guy, physical. He's like his brother. They play the game the same way. It's physical. It's rugged. And Liam impacts that entire room of wide receivers. But Liam impacts our entire offense, just his attitude and his effort and his tenacity. And really glad we got those Fortner twins on our team.
No doubt about that. Noah Short, our special guest here on This Week in Army Football. He'll be coming up for you from the Cadet First Class Club here at West Point, coming up in just a moment when we're back right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. And welcome back this week in Army football, brought to you by FW Web for plumbing, heating, HVAC, refrigeration, pipe, valves, fittings, and more. With extensive inventory, personalized service, more than 100 locations, and a fleet of trucks across the Northeast. Visit fwweb.com for a location near you. Back here on This Week in Army football, Rich DeMarco, Army head coach Jeff Monken. The Black Knights take on North Texas coming up Saturday. A noon kickoff at Mikey Stadium. Time now for our special guest, someone who can do it all for this Army team. We've seen him run the ball. We've seen him catch the ball. We've seen him catch the ball as a running back, run the ball as a wide receiver, and
block punts.
Block punts. Good point. Recover punts as well. Now, and the Army-Navy game in 2022, of course, one of the great moments. But we found out he can throw the ball, and on a trick play as well. Last time out against Kansas State. How about This Week in Army football? Welcome to someone they just got to get touches to on this Army offense. That's Noah Short. Noah, welcome to This Week in Army football.
Thank you.
On my spotting chart, the first bullet I have under you is, in all caps, need to get him touches. It seems like, is there like a chart you have on the sidelines of, hey, you have to get the ball this minute? Jeff, are you keeping track of that for Noah?
No, there's certainly a desire to try to push the ball his way, but it's worked out a lot. It's worked out really well, and we've been able to throw it to him. We've been able to hand it to him and toss it to him. So he's doing a good job when he gets it. So far, so good.
Noah, how has the season gone so far? 2 games in.
It's been great. I love the way the team responded. Obviously, this past week, first game was tough. Disappointment around the facility, but just the way the guys responded in practice and just came and got a big win in Kansas State. I thought that was a huge testament to our program.
How did you going into that game, and you talked about after the first game of the year, of course, the disappointing setback on that Friday night. Was there anything said? Was there a team meeting? Like, what was it, if you had a pinpoint, got this team, and not that they ever were going to feel sorry for themselves, but get to a point where you were going to take what was a truly disappointing loss and turn it into the kind of game that the performance turned into Saturday?
I'd say it was just getting back to the fundamentals of Army football. Coach Monken, he harped on it all week. Just the different virtues that make Army football, Army. And some of these characteristics, just, toughness, grit, passion, consistency. I think just focusing back on what really mattered allowed us to get back on track.
Jeff, what did you look at the senior class and what they've been through and their leadership, and there's a lot of upsets of teams against power conference opponents. I don't know if there's a whole lot where a team is being outgained the way you are and down 13 points late in the first half. What do you credit? What did the senior class do to not even lose faith during that game? Because you look at the disappointing loss, you look 26 minutes into that Kansas State game, things aren't looking good.
I think there's just something woven into the fabric of this program, and there's a toughness, there's a belief, there's a trust in each other, there's a great sense of loyalty to each other, the sense of brotherhood that these guys have, the camaraderie, the team spirit. They feel compelled to do their best, and they don't want to let each other down. And I really believe that compels us to play our best. And when we have a disappointing loss, like we did, and I hope we won't have any more, but the week of Kansas State game, to play better fundamentally, to play our brand of football, to play more physical, and to just play it all the way to the end. And that's what we did. So when it was 13-0, it didn't matter. We were just, that wasn't the end of the game. We were going to keep playing and play it all the way out. And fortunately, we have a team that did that. We had leaders in that locker room at halftime that believed. We had guys on the sideline that kept breathing that life into each other, and we found a way. And it was just gritty and tough, and that's all it was. Just guys being tough and finding a way.
Noah, you burst onto the scene, some might think, over the past couple of years with your running, your pass catching. What has been the biggest impact on you since coming here to West Point? And just take me through your contributions. You can go back to that Army-Navy game in 2022 where you blocked the punt, Jabril Williams recovers it. Such a key play in that game. Take me through your 4 years and how you've now grown to the point of the leader and the contributor you are today.
I think the most important factor is the developmental focus that these coaches have here. We're in a new era of college football where, you find yourself at the 2 or 3 spot, and you hit the transfer portal, and you kind of take the easy way out. But the development here and the true care that the coaches have, whether you're the 5th string or the 1st string, it's apparent, and I just trust in the process. And like you said, my freshman year started with Coach Sat, just getting in extra meetings with him, looking at different punts and punt blocks, and just really trying to find any way I could to contribute to this team. And as I rose up the depth chart on offense, it was the same thing with Coach Smith and Coach Romero. Just the true care, I'd say, the coaches was my most enabling factor for sure.
Noah, and you got some opportunity due to the injuries to Tyrell Robinson, and I know he had a huge impact on you on and off the field. What was the impact of Tyrell? You getting an opportunity with him being out, but how much he was able to help you, and you kind of taking the baton, so to speak, from him as that big play weapon in the offense?
First off, he never wavered or was hesitant to help me out, and that's just really the type of person Tyrell he is. And it's a tough spot, obviously, after a tough injury, and kind of seeing someone else kind of take the helm at that spot. But it didn't matter if it was in practice or in the game or off the field stuff. He always was almost like a mentor to me, and something I'll always appreciate out of him.
Jeff, what does that mean to you? And you were right up close, firsthand. You saw the way Tyrell handled coming back from his injuries, how he handled Noah Short, and how he was able to help them. What did that mean to you?
Tyrell was an example for everybody in our program. He was just, what an awesome guy, man. I loved coaching him. I loved having him in the locker room. Even when he was injured, he was having a positive impact on our football team and his teammates. He's one of those guys that just in his generation, the guys that were part of the team as he was in the locker room from his freshman year all the way through his senior year, and the guys that are left now, even though he's gone, just the impact he's had on so many classes. And not everybody can do that, but he had the personality for it, the humility. When he burst on the scene as a freshman, you remember against Middle Tennessee State, everybody was like, holy moly, who is that guy? Even my wife, I went home and she's like, who's that slot back you got? And he was making an impact from the day he showed up here, but it was his attitude, his effort, his humility that I really think impacted this program more so than his play. And I know it did for Noah, and I know it did for a lot of the guys particularly guys that played that position, but guys at every position, guys on the offensive line, defensive line. He's a long way from, but they would say the same thing about Tyrell. So I know he's doing great things out there in the Army. I bet his soldiers just love him. And you know what? Noah's doing the same thing for the young guys in this program. He's leading them too.
And Noah, I got to ask you, though, before we let you go, a couple things. First off, 2022, you're a plebe, Army-Navy game. You dress, you come up with the big punt block. Take me through that play and being a hero as a plebe in the Army-Navy game.
I got to give a lot of the credit to Coach Saturnio on that one. I remember we were practicing, I believe it was at Temple's practice facility. And I'd say I got just as many reps as Jimmy Charlo did, and I was the second string guy, and just continuing to run that look. And it was Cascade was the play, and I remember Jimmy went down, and we called it. And the first pump block in the game, I felt the seam open. I was like, oh my gosh, this might really work. And the second one just timed it up perfect. And Jabril, thankfully, he recovered it after a quick scare. But it just felt so good to be able to contribute.
I tell you, before the end of this year, we've got to get you and Jabril now. You were both plebes at the time. Now, 3 years later, heading into the Army-Navy game, who made one of the biggest plays of that game and helped you to victory. Okay, what's going to be next for you when you're a commissioned officer in the U.S. Army?
I'm hoping to go field artillery. That's my number one option. So we'll see where it goes. But
the superintendent is here tonight. You can go over there and buy him a beer, maybe.
No doubt.
I might just have to do that.
Well, Noah, hey, we appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. We're here on Monday nights. No, it's not a regular night for cadets here at the Firsty Club, but if you can come out, we'd love to see you at another show. And thank you so much for taking the time. And best of luck. I mean, I would say 17 touches on Saturday, 20 touches. That's what I'm gonna think on Saturday, right?
You're trying to give this guy a big head.
No doubt. Hey, I got a big head, so I got to give someone else it too. Hey, Noah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
That's Noah Short, Army, slot back, wide receiver, slash in the scorebook. When we come back, we'll join by our second special guest on This Week in Army Football, Deputy Athletic Director and former Army Sprint football legend, Dan McCarthy. Back at the First Class Club in just a moment, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
Good job, my man.
welcome back to the Cadet First Class Club this week in Army football. Time now to be joined by our second special guest, Rich DeMarco, alongside Jeff Munkin, and we would like to welcome Deputy Athletics Director, West Point graduate class of 1990, a truly great sprint football player here at West Point, a championship sprint football player. Let's welcome Dan McCarthy to the show. Dan, welcome, one of the senior leader team members here in the athletic department. And I don't know, we bring a lot of people on the show. I don't know if there's anyone who gets more excited than you do to come on the show.
Rich, I enjoy spending time with you, and Coach, I appreciate you letting me come on and share a little bit of time with you.
We're glad to have you here. Yeah. Spending time with Rich is, you're nice to say that it's nice to spend time with Rich.
You got to force people to spend time with me. So, Jeff, what's your interaction with Dan McCarthy on a daily basis?
Well, Dan's around every day. We see him at practice every day. We see him around the office. But Dan kind of cut his teeth after he got out of the Army with Army football. So he, I don't know if he'd tell you it was a great job or not, but he was the director of football operations for us. And
He's still here, though.
He'd probably tell you I never worked so many hours. I mean, we had him working morning, noon, and night. He was spending the night at the office trying to get it's a hard job. It's a lot. And Dan will tell you. And he was kind of a one-man show. So now we've got several support people that kind of help in that area. When Dan was doing it, it was Dan and Dan only.
So that's my segue to you, Dan, is that, if you're going to go from someone who's worked at West Point, maybe interacted with athletics, helped out a little bit, there might not be a better indoctrination to college sports than to be in that hustle and bustle every day of the football office.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it was absolutely the very best job I could have taken coming out of the Army and trying to really get my foot in the door in athletics. And, probably not a surprise to many, but, most athletic departments run sort of through their football program. There are exceptions at Duke or maybe at Kansas, but certainly here, our football program really is sort of the heart and soul of our athletics department in many ways. And in that particular job, I just was exposed to every part of the athletics department. I mean, certainly there was a lot going on within the football team itself, but if you think about everything from ticketing, marketing, to internal, external operations, all kind of, I was really fortunate in that year to learn not just how a football program runs, but really, truly how the athletic department runs. And then fortunate at the end of that year that Boo Corrigan brought me down onto his senior staff, which really allowed me to leverage my academy experience as well as my experience within the football program to try to help the broader athletic department.
Jeff, and you mentioned, Dan McCarthy was a one-man band, right? And now you have other people. And
he didn't have any gray hair
to do that. How much of that is, how much does the staffing component and the support you're able to provide ultimately end up translating to wins and losses?
Oh, I think it absolutely is critical to have people to support the program. Everybody that works in the athletic department, everybody that works in the football office, we all have a job to do to support our cadet athletes. And it's essential. It's an essential job. If it didn't matter, we wouldn't have those people. But to support everything that we do, the nutrition, the travel, the academics, I mean, you name it, everything. And as people here know very well, the days for our cadet athletes are absolutely jam-packed. So there are people to support them with everything that they do throughout the day. Everything that we do operationally as a football program, that we do as an athletic department. And fortunately, we've been able to grow as a football program and get more support people that help us. Anything that we can do to take some of the pressure off of our players and allow them just to be students and to be athletes, to be cadets, the better. And I think the more people we have to support them, the better they're able to do that and accomplish those things.
And Dan, how is that perspective from you doing that job, one-man band, whatever you want to call it, do you see and appreciate now in a role as a sport administrator?
Yeah, so certainly the staff has grown, but I think Coach is spot on, right? Everything that we can do as an athletics department, as a football staff, to make our players' time that they have with us in football to be as efficient as it possibly can be, to have everything lined up so our guys aren't wasting any time when they get up to the building. We'd love to get more time with them, but just the realities of West Point don't allow that. So everything that coach can do, that we can do, that I can do as a sport administrator to provide the resources to make that time as efficient and as effective as possible, it's critical here because we just don't get near enough time with them, and certainly not as compared to the schools that we play against.
So before we ask you about your career, your playing career in Sprint football, bowl games, right? And championship games, that's something that kind of lays on you. You're figuring out who's on the plane, who's getting kicked off the plane, who's getting what credential. I'll tell you, with success comes more work, I'm sure. And now in this sport administrator position, you're seeing a lot of that as well.
Yeah, certainly. And I, in my role even just with event operations here at West Point, I think about a year ago when we were hosting a championship game for the first time in the American Conference, and we did that on 5 days, really with 5 days of prep time. And it certainly was challenging for our team, for our guys to get ready on 5 days notice, but even here at the academy for us to be ready. And we really, we had an idea that there was a chance that we could be hosting, but really there was a lot. And it's not just within the football or the athletics program, but really the broader West Point community came together to host that game. Yeah. Hosting a game in December is something we hadn't done. I guess we did it, Coach, during the COVID year, but it really
But having a full, selling tickets, having,
exactly
the
right.
whole
That you wouldn't have known. You would have thought that our athletic department had planned that all year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a great operation, and our entire department, athletic department, our football, all we had to do was show up and play the game.
And Dan's built a great team.
It's awesome.
As well, the folks under him. So, okay, Dan, class of '90, we're running short on time, but I've got to hear greatest on-field moment for Army Sprint football.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, so without a doubt, my senior year, we played against Navy at home, and we had lost down at their place my junior year. And I remember in the locker room after the game kind of grabbing up some of my classmates who are going to be seniors that following year and saying, look, we don't want to experience this feeling again next year. And so back then we used to play our games up at Mikey Stadium. We practiced down on Daly Field, but played our games up there. And so my senior year, getting a chance to beat Navy in our last game, my last time playing an official game of football, was certainly probably my biggest highlight of Sprint football.
As the Army seniors are going to try and do, we'll do this year on December 13th, right?
That's
right.
Hey,
Dan, we appreciate the time, and thanks for all you do for the department.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Rich.
Dan McCarthy, Deputy Athletic Director. We'll be back more this week in Army football in just a moment, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. And welcome back to the Varsity Club. This week in Army football, Dan McCarthy, Noah Short have joined us. Two great spots. Dan McCarthy, he had a little bit of a broadcast background, too, that he didn't bring up.
Well, I didn't know about that until the break. And you
probably
said
didn't want to mention.
You guys shared the booth together and called the sprint game. So I'm
2009 Sprint football. We were the broadcast team.
Hey, that's the dream team right there.
I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun with Dan. Dan is great people and a great part of this Army athletics department. You just showed me in the break off the game notes, beautifully prepared by Eric Chapinski, as he does each and every week. 47.7 points per game for your opponent this week. North Texas coming in at 3-0. They have seemingly quarterback transferred to Virginia. They had a receiver, DT Sheffield, transferred to Rutgers. They have a crowded wide receiver room that can do everything. They got a quarterback that can throw the ball. This is a team that seemingly got hit by the portal and hasn't missed a beat.
They have not. It is jaw-dropping when you see that. They're 47.7 points per game and only allowing 13.3. I mean, that's tops in the nation.
That's Army numbers from
both.
last year.
It's unreal. And last year we played them. What it was game 8 or so, 8 or 9?
Low scoring game
but it was a
Army.
low scoring game. They were averaging 40 points a game at that point, which is really impressive. I mean, Coach Morris does a terrific job, calls the offense. It's really difficult to do as a head coach. I say it's difficult. I guess he finds it to be pretty natural for him, but he just does a tremendous job. They score some points. The quarterback's excellent. The receivers are great. They got a running game. They're really good on the offensive line, do a great job of pass protections, and obviously their defense. What a great job they're doing on defense. They got a new defensive coordinator from Sam Houston, did a terrific job there.
A lot of Sam Houston transfers, too, on that team, a lot.
Yeah, well, they come into the same system. So it's wise. You bring the coordinator, you bring players along with them, and they're doing a great job. So good football team. It's going to take a great effort.
It's grown into a nice rivalry with North Texas, going back to 2016, the year when Army broke through, defeated Navy, went to the bowl game, won the bowl game.
Played them twice.
Army had lost to North Texas here, 29-18 during the regular season. Then that beautiful game, and who could forget the Asbury touchdown on 4th down in overtime to win the ball game in the Ryan England pass breakup.
Yep, that was a heck of a football game. And as I recall, we jumped out to a big lead in that game.
And they came back.
And they came back and tied it up and had a fake punt against us and a lot of things. It just, what a great football game. So the next year we went there and had a barn burner at 52-49. That was a crazy game. We couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop us. And then we had the game last year, which was quite the opposite of that 2017 game. It was very low scoring and a defensive battle. So hopefully we can do a great job this Saturday and play well in every phase and give ourselves a chance. They got a great team.
Always fun to hook up with UNT. More this week in Army football in just a moment from the Varsity Club right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield. And welcome back. Final segment here on This Week in Army Football. Noon kick time on Saturday, Mikey Stadium, airtime 10 a.m. across the Army Sports Network with the Army Football Tailgate Show, broadcasting live along Black Knights Alley, House Field. I'll tell you what, Jeff, I see it every day when I'm driving into work. The Mikey Stadium Preservation Project seemingly taking more and more shape by the day.
Can you believe that thing? I mean, from my office, I got a really good view of the east side of the stadium, and I've seen the old east stands crumble down to nothing. And for a while, I wasn't sure anything was going to come out of that ground. They just kept digging and
Did they put a Jeff Monken time capsule on there?
Well, they put, I mean, just all the work they had to do for the infrastructure and the wires and the pipes and the, driving those pilings all the way down. And then when it started to come up out of the ground, awesome. And right now, it's just, you can really envision what it's going to look like. It's truly incredible.
MikeyStadium.com, and there's some great opportunities to watch the game, experience, and that's what it. It's funny. I don't, as much as I can, you get to look at other games, other stadiums, and the experience is what it's all about. That's what everyone's looking for when they come to a game. It's something that they're never going to forget. And look, we're spoiled. I'm spoiled. I like to remind myself not to be, but when you're able to come to Mikey Stadium to call every game, be at every game, you kind of get used to when you shouldn't. How amazing of an opportunity it is.
It is MikeyStadium.com. You could probably give there too. So
you can give there. You can give.
Keep it coming.
Keep it coming. Keep it getting better and better, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. 2026, the Mikey Stadium Preservation Project. Okay, questions here. Statement with the Kansas State game. Statement in that you've played a lot of close games against Power 4 opponents on the road in the regular season. Is there a feeling that was a breakthrough of sorts when you look at the way you played it at Michigan, at Oklahoma, against Rutgers, some other schools? Did it feel that way?
It's a big win. Obviously, you play a team from a power conference. It's a big win, and to do that on the road, I know that our players saw that as a great opportunity. Kansas State has grown into being one of the really outstanding football programs in the country. They've had, it used to be.
Coach too. They got a great coach.
Chris Kleiman's one of the best coaches in the country. And what it used to be was the doormat of college football. And then Bill Snyder took that job and completely resurrected that program, and not just made them competitive, but they were the team in the Big 12 to beat.
Yeah.
And he battling with Oklahoma and Texas and won Big 12 championships, and Chris has continued that. So to go into that environment, it was loud, great crowd, very talented, well-coached football team, and win. That's a big win for us, for sure. I don't know how you stack it up against the rest of them or if it's a breakthrough game, but it certainly gave our team some confidence.
2 games in, Brady Anderson, someone that you could say maybe wasn't on the tip of everyone's tongue a couple of weeks ago, that has stood out. What other players have been standouts for you that have turned into dependable contributors on this team?
Well, certainly Colin Madison. He's not a guy that everybody was talking about a year ago, wasn't a starter a year ago, and had a great game. He's really turned into being an excellent tackler and a really good player for us. Guys up front, we had a Joe Moore Award offensive line, and really this past game, those 5 guys held their own against a Big 12 team, and really making plays for us. Dawson Jones, our kicker.
Oh,
he missed that kick.
Same yard line.
He did. He missed the one in regulation. Felt terrible about it. He missed the one in overtime against Tarleton. Lined up and kicked that 4th quarter field goal from the exact same spot and nailed it, and it made the difference in the football game. So proud of him and how resilient he was, and so there's a new name as well.
Position, that's all mental, it seems like, kicker. Noah, I should say Hayden Reed, Jake Rendina, both left Kansas State game with injuries. How were they?
Well, we're still working through it. I think Jake's probably going to be a little bit of time before he's healthy. Hayden should hopefully practice as we go through the week this week, and we'll see how he is at the end of the week. And we'd love to have him available, but we really probably won't know that until Friday. But we're counting on him. We're counting on him to be ready.
So Briggs Bartosh, he was questionable to be on the dress roster.
Yeah.
He ended up being on the dress roster against Kansas State. Along with Carson Smith, you were left with those two fullbacks. A question I've been asking myself: if there was Bartosh didn't make the dress roster, would you have put a Pulaski there? Who would have gone to fullback?
And we were saying the same thing. Who would we put there? I don't know that we had to really
Put you on the spot here.
kind of be on the spot like that. But what we said was how fortunate we were that we took Briggs Bartosh, because originally we were going to take three running backs, and we decided the last day before we traveled that we were going to take Briggs just in case, and thankfully we had him. So we probably would have taken one of those slot back type guys, Aiden Self or somebody like that, who's
We're
a
out
little
of
bigger
time.
guy. Oh, here we go.
Thanks for watching, listening.
All right.
Army, North Texas.
Let's
Saturday.
beat them. Let's go.
Sorry, pal. You didn't get to sign off.